Hey, if you're interested in making a podcast of your own, I wanted to be sure to let you know that Spotify's got a platform that lets you make one super easily and distribute it everywhere, plus even earn money. It's all in one place for free. It's called Spotify for Podcasters, and here's how it works. Spotify for Podcasters lets you record and edit podcasts right from your phone or computer, so no matter what your setup is like, you can start creating as soon as today. Then you can distribute your podcast to Spotify and everywhere else that podcasts are heard. Video podcasts are also available on Spotify, so that's pretty cool. And with Spotify for Podcasters, you can earn money in a variety of ways, including ads and podcast subscriptions. And best of all, like I said, it's totally free with no catch. Ever since I discovered Spotify for Podcasters, I feel like it's just really helped me take my podcast to a whole other level. And I highly recommend that you give it a try as well if this is something you've ever thought about doing. Just download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to www.spotify.com// podcasters to get started right now. Hey there, I'm Julie, and this is the Married to Addiction podcast. If you're here, then you're probably what I call my secret sister. We're in a situation we never asked to be in and fighting a battle we never wanted to fight. We're faith-filled women who are married to an alcoholic, and it affects every inch of our lives. If that sounds like you, then this is a safe place for you to land. Married to Addiction is a faith-based podcast where I help you find the tools and strength you need to navigate your husband's addiction without losing yourself in the process. So please subscribe and tune in as often as you can, because your husband's recovery is important, but so is yours. Well, the holidays are upon us again, and as the wife of an alcoholic, that might give you a lot of anxiety. A lot of our husbands tend to ramp up their drinking during this time of year, and of course, that coupled with all of the family gatherings can really just bring a lot of stress into our lives, on top of all the normal stress we have in our lives. So I wanted to invite you today to join us in the Secret Sister Circle. It has now reopened for signups. It was closed all the way back from September 1st until now. You could not sign up. It was not open to the public. It is now. I would love to have you join us, especially right now, because there are some lessons in there that are for this time of year specifically. There is a lesson on what to do during the holidays. There is a lesson on how to handle toxic behavior during the holidays. There is a lesson on the best New Year's resolutions for the wife of an alcoholic, things that are specifically geared towards this time of year and you as the wife of an alcoholic. So I would absolutely love to have you join us in the Secret Sister Circle. It is my coaching group for wives of alcoholics. There is so much more to it. If you don't know about it yet, or you don't really remember much about it, please head to my website, marriedtoaddiction.com, and click on the programs drop down. You will see the Secret Sister Circle there. You can learn a whole lot more about it, hear or read some testimonials, and please then prayerfully consider joining us, especially as we come into the holidays, because I think it could make a big difference for you. I hope to see you there. Hello, and welcome to episode 84 of the Married to Addiction podcast. This podcast episode is entitled, What to Do If Your Husband is Trying to Stop Drinking. So it's been a couple weeks since I've been here, longer than I anticipated. We have had some illness running through our house. It's fall, 'tis the season for all of that. And then my son had a birthday, and it's just been a little chaotic over here. So I apologize for the delay, but I am back. And I wanted to talk about this today because I did a full lesson on this in the Secret Sister Circle, which is my group or actually my coaching program for wives of alcoholics. But I wanted to go over a few of the points here too, because this is actually something that I get asked about quite frequently in the Secret Sister Circle private group. By the way, I did want to let you know this is super important. So let me get this out of the way. The Secret Sister Circle has reopened. So you will remember that I closed the doors at the end of August. So August 31st was the last day that I had this open to the public. It is now open to everyone. You can now join again. And if it's something you've been thinking about doing, please join us now. If you don't really know too much about it, or you want a refresher on what exactly it entails, you can head to marriedtoaddiction.com, click on the, I believe it says programs, Now, I change it every once in a while, but I think it says programs. And you will see the link to the Secret Sister Circle right there. We would love to have you there with us. So, anyway, I wanted to talk about this because I remember when my husband came home from recovery, I thought, awesome, we can finally start getting back to normal life now. Little did I know that his returning from treatment center was just the very beginning of the work. So I thought that his being away at the treatment center was going to be the hardest part, but it was unexpectedly really hard when he came home too. So even if your husband isn't going to a treatment center, I still thought that we should talk about this because a lot of times our husbands, one of their attempts at sobriety, sometimes one of their earlier attempts will be going to meetings, or maybe they, have gone back and forth to AA meetings for a number of years. Remember that every attempt is a good attempt. It means that they recognize there is a problem and they are interested in fixing it. So going to AA meetings or celebrate recovery meetings, things of that nature, is often something that they will decide to do. And that's great. So I want to talk about today about what we as wives can do to support those types of efforts. First thing I want you to realize is that recovery is not linear. If this is the first time that your husband has gone to AA and he stops going and keeps drinking, that is normal. A lot of times they will have several attempts at sobriety before they actually end up sober for a long period of time. But we still want to make sure that we are supporting any effort that they are making to stop drinking. You need to give your husband space when he is attempting recovery. Because when an alcoholic tries not to drink, they are also having to learn to do their life in a completely different way. This is a monumental life change for somebody who has been dependent on alcohol to navigate their daily life. It's going to take everything he has. So how can we support his sobriety efforts specifically? I'm going to give you 3 tips today. And again, there's a much longer lesson with a lot more detail in the SSC membership, but I wanted to at least give you something to go on today if you are in this situation or if you find yourself in this situation in the near future. The first thing is, don't be jealous of time spent at meetings. Your husband is not being selfish by going to meetings. He is not trying to ignore you by going to meetings. Now, you may feel resentful that he was gone all day at work and then he turns around and heads out to a meeting shortly after he gets home. Maybe he's gone all day at work. He comes home, eats the dinner you made, and goes back out to a meeting and is gone for a couple more hours. Sometimes we can feel resentment around that. But remember that you are more resentful of his drinking, right? So you need to choose your battles. You can't have it both ways. You can't be on him about, wanting him to stop drinking all the time, and then he starts going to meetings and now you're mad because he's not home. Choose your battles. Number 2, don't be suspicious or offended by silence or distance, or both. I remember asking my husband after he returned from treatment so many times if he was mad at me because he seemed distant. He was quiet. And I thought he was mad. I remember thinking, oh my gosh, things have changed between us since he's been gone. Like, this is really uncomfortable. Like, he's not hardly talking to me. He's super quiet. He seems distant. Well, that was true. Things had changed between us. The thing that had changed was that he was making an attempt to do the very thing that I had been pleading with him to do for years. So yes, things had changed, but it wasn't for the worse, like I assumed. That was the enemy in my head telling me, oh, well, he must be mad. Oh, well, now he's mad at you because, he felt like he had to go to treatment, all of those things. That was the enemy in my head, and it wasn't true. It is really hard for them to return to the real world alcohol-free. It takes a lot of emotional energy. They are having to process things in a brand new way. They are probably noticing a lot more things than they were noticing before because their brain isn't numb with alcohol anymore. So silence or distance is not about you, which leads us to number 3. Don't make it about you. When we start coming at someone who is new in recovery, telling them that they aren't acting right the way that we feel like they should act, or they aren't doing the things that we feel like they should do, i.e., going to meetings when we want them to be home, acting quiet or distant, etc. What do you think that confrontation is going to make them want to do? If you said drink, you get a gold star because that's true. It is also true that some aspects of our husbands getting sober are difficult for us. That is a fact. But keep in mind what you want. What is your end goal? What husband do you want in the future? If you want a sober one, then you must give him space to do the work. He needs to do the work. He needs to work the program. He needs to go to the meetings. He needs to read the big book. He needs to, call his sponsor. He needs to be on maybe an online forum with other sober people who are encouraging him and telling him that he can do it. All of those things are okay. He's doing the work. Give him space to do the work. Stand back. Lean on God in the meantime. Yes, it can feel, bristly and weird and different. Lean on God in the meantime. Join a support group yourself, like the Secret Sister Circle. Oh my gosh, everybody in there is so supportive and encouraging, and they have been through this, a lot of them, attempts at recovery and trying to manage all of this. A lot of them have been through that. Have a support group of your own. Also in the Secret Sister Circle, you can learn so many things that you can do instead of being on his case about going to meetings or feeling resentful about him being quiet or getting your feelings hurt or all of those things. There's so many other things you can be doing instead that will fill you up instead of making you feel bad or depleted, like the things that you may be feeling right now. Plus, you have some sisters to support you, just like he has. People, in his AA meetings or his online group or whatever. He's getting support because it helps him to recover. You need support to help you recover too. So the bottom line and the whole point of this episode is that his sobriety has to come first if you want anything else to change. And I know that you desperately want things to change and you want him to be sober. So give him the space to do that. Again, this might not be his final attempt, but it is an attempt, and it shows that he's trying, and it shows that he is willing to make a change, at least right now. Be supportive of that in all of the ways that we talked about today. I hope that's been helpful for you. Again, the Secret Sister Circle is now open for new members. We would love to have you join us. Just head to marriedtoaddiction.com to find out more. As always, thank you so much for listening. I'll see you next time. Hey, one more quick thing before I let you go today. Do you follow Married to Addiction on either Instagram or Facebook or both? If not, I would love to have you join me over there. It's a great place to stay connected with everything that's happening with Married to Addiction. I post updates about my podcast episodes, of course. I post about my freebies. I post about my programs. I post encouragement in the way of Bible verses and things like that. I also post just like some helpful little teaching nuggets sometimes too. So I really think that you would get a lot of value out of that as the wife of an alcoholic. And I would love to have you join me on either Facebook or Instagram, or both. You can find me at facebook.com/married to addiction or just at married to addiction on Instagram. I hope to see you there.